It's the Ryan Mercer Show with Richard Masso. Our hosts and their guests are here to talk about comics, movies, random topics, and everything in between. Now, here's your hosts, Ryan and Richard.
Richard, you can be honest. I'm in love with the new voiceover. Happy Monday. How are you? What do you think?
Good.
Do we need somebody British? What do you think?
No, I prefer that over the British person. The British person, and whether this was my own issue, sounded like your phone or your GPS version. They had a little robotic tinge to them. And when I listened to that opening over, on my phone or whatever through Facebook Messenger, it did not sound like that. Sounded, however, that the levels or whatever you call it, I really liked it. It didn't sound too loud. It didn't sound too crazy. No, I like it. I like it a lot. And he said my name right, so that's pretty cool.
He asks, because I learned this through doing all of this at this point. You really have to type like Mass MASS -O, right. Otherwise they could possibly chop it up.
Yeah, sure.
But actually, I was very impressed because I was really, really looking for someone with like that radio game show voice, and there was nobody who really put an emphasis on selling that type of voiceover. But he was the one where I was like, I feel like if I tell this guy, he'll be able to do it, and I feel like he nailed it. So very happy.
No, I was very impressed with that. Yes, I was going to say we should probably play it. I don't know if it messes up my voice. We should just play it randomly through the show so that people, because I always feel like people get to us later.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, we should have just kept talking and be like, hold up, and then just
hold up. Right. Yes, right. That'll be our new. You hear feedback from time to time with people, and one of the positives or allure for me to doing this show is that we can just jump in and do it without too much craziness. This morning, for some behind the scenes stuff that was real. This morning, I was texting Ryan saying, I'm good. I'll do whatever you want. I could live without it this week. I'm fine. And I said, but at the same time, if you push me, I'll come. And so I was happy. I'm happy that he didn't really push me. He just said, well, here's what I was thinking, because I'm realizing next week's an Eagles game.
Okay, there we go.
Either I'll push you for an earlier start, or we'll do we'll do a shorter. So
I was going to say, just so everybody knows, and you know as well, because you said that, something's going to happen like Monday morning.
It is a guarantee that, something will happen. So every Sunday, and today it was Monday when I got home from work, I go through Ryan's Oppenheimer stories that he posts, and it's always Tuesday. Two things will happen. It's either a ton will happen this morning on Monday, or most of the things we'll talk about happened last Tuesday, or right after the show is over. So
that's done too.
Still kind of cool to see, and we will get into the news now. I'm working on my news voice. So today in the news, the box office. Do I have a thing that's supposed to play, right?
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I got you.
If anyone didn't say we don't practice, we don't do anything. So.
It's the new intro. The timing threw you off. I get it.
Yes.
I get it. All right, here we go. But real quick, I just realized something. You're going to talk, and you're not going to have any issues with that 3D right there.
Okay. So
like if I run YouTube.
Yes.
One day we're going to figure that out.
It's YouTube, right? This is where anyone listening, because I have seen it done. I believe that Cosmo Kramer did it in an episode. We can give college credits for interns who want to work our podcast. Anyone who's going to school for this kind of stuff? How many listeners do you have? We've got 7 to 8. They will listen for a minute here. We've got 2 or 3 solid listeners.
But it's the thought that counts.
But if you want your intern hours, maybe high school kids who need service hours, help two crazy older men with this. All right, I will stop before the court of public opinion gets to me. A box office, more of the same this week. Shang-Chi. By the way, have you seen it yet? I realize we have not even talked about Shang-Chi at all, but you haven't seen it, I'm assuming?
It like dropped. Like I think
No, it dropped the day you
the
started your
hotel.
job.
Yeah, like the day the hotel opened, it
Yes,
dropped.
it 100% did, and it not being available on. If you could pay the $30 for Disney Plus, you might have seen it. So
Yeah, they didn't do the experiment.
They didn't do
Canceled.
the experiment, so
Canceled.
yeah. So Shang-Chi with 21 million this week. Free Guy holding on now for at least 6 or 7 weeks with 5.2 million. Cry Macho, the new Clint Eastwood movie, at 4.5 million. Candyman at 3.5, and then Malignant at 2.7, rounding up the top 5. So, yep.
Have you seen Free Guy? Because it's still there.
It's still there. No, I have not seen it. I've heard a couple people have seen it who had positive things to say. So that was, it was what they expected. Ryan Reynolds being a little goofy and having fun like a video game. So,
okay.
I also think there's not that many options. So,
and Ryan Reynolds, he just like anything Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. So, and again, that's when we do our career retrospectives. When we do career retrospective corner every episode, when we actually start doing work for the show, definitely Ryan Reynolds' career from when he was 2 guys and a girl in a pizza place, this quirky little like ABC comedy.
Oh yeah.
And then he's just consistently been. You just knew something about him. And then
for me,
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say for me, I remember always thinking it was like when he came back ripped and buff for Blade 3. I was like, Van Wilder is gonna be in Blade 3. That was the one where I realized I was like, oh, that's Ryan Reynolds, Van Wilder, got it.
So the question to ask. Does Ryan Reynolds, and please, if anyone in the comment knows who's listening, Ryan Reynolds has that really cool career arc of sitcom star, Van Wilder, Blade 3, the first Wolverine, he's, to megastar with Deadpool, the Proposal with Sandra Bullock, like he is just handsome leading man material. Does he have his Forrest Gump, Philadelphia? I don't believe he has... that serious turn that an actor has done. I don't think he's done that yet.
No, I think the one that he tried, and I can't remember the name, was very short-lived, was where it was like he was explaining his dating life to his daughter. Do you remember?
But was it still a comedy maybe? I know exactly what you're talking about, but I still think it was a tinge of a comedy. But it was more on the serious side because I've seen that a couple times flipping around. Yes.
I mean, you've seen it. Like he has the little excerpts in the movie where it's like Ryan Reynolds could definitely do something serious for sure.
So it's just, yeah. Hopefully, again, he also that was what it was called. He doesn't need to do it right now. I mean, he's good, and not that Tom Hanks or Michael Keaton or any of these comedians who did serious roles needed to do it. So if you're just joining us.
Weird.
Called Paperman. Still a comedian. Okay.
He was in a weird art house film too.
That would definitely have never heard Paperman before, so have to check it out. So that's the news. Sorry. So the top 5. Not much changing there. So Ryan, I know you did a show about this last week, so please correct me if I'm not saying it right, because I've only read about Gabby. I've not seen I've not heard her name said out loud. Is it Petito? Is that how you were saying it?
That's how it's being pronounced. I'm catching, yeah.
And I'm not going to try to say Brian's name. I should have moved the story to the end of the news because we do tend to do my little segue into the main topic. Because right now, court of public opinion, Brian L. is guilty as heck.
Guilty as heck, yeah.
Right. I was talking with one of our longtime listeners, Renee C., today, and we were just talking about easier said than done. So let me preface this, easier said than done.
Yeah.
But Alexis walks in tomorrow and says, "Hey, Dad, remember that guy I was camping with for the last 2 months, Yeah, we were having an argument. He slipped. He fell. Whatever it is, whatever the story is.
Yeah.
I got angry. I punched him. He fell backwards. He's dead. You're not taking her arm and going, "We're going to the cops. We're turning you in." Like you're not doing that.
Right.
But you're sitting down and going, "Let's talk." And you're calling a lawyer, and you're not deciding after that you're going to go hide You're
Right.
going to go hide. We're not going to say a word about this. Oh, the boyfriend's calling us looking for like his family's calling. Yeah, let's just ignore those calls. Let's blow them off. You're getting the lawyer together. And again, I apologize. None of this is making light of this situation. It's
No,
more
I get where you're going.
Yeah, no, it's just more. This is all we ever tell people. Honesty is the best policy. We fail at that sometimes, but in this, it's like honesty is the best policy, but also we can learn. Hey, you pushed him, but we're not going to tell the story like that. We're going to tell the story like they were, and it's horrible, but you would do something. Whatever Brian L. and his family have decided, it's not the right cause. It's not the right tactic.
Yeah.
In my court of public opinion, I don't think it's the right tactic on their part. But it does seem like the update since you last talked about it is that they do feel like they have found her remains. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say to what you said, I without going into too much detail, because it'll start a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, I think you and I talked about this. I personally knew Cosmo DiNardo, right?
Okay,
and,
yes.
And before I get canceled, everybody, let me just say that it's something that I tell Monica about this. Like, one of the most traumatic weeks of my life when it happened, and it's not like he was my best friend or my cousin, but I knew him enough to like all the news updates and everything that was going on. It was just like, I can't believe I know somebody that like did this, right? It's very weird, and it's still very haunting to me. Long story short, and again, everybody, please don't cancel me. I remember saying to somebody, I'm positive his mom did not rock him to sleep at night hoping he was going to murder 4 people when he was an adult, right? And again, I'm not defending anything that Brian did or may have done, but like you said, or I think where you were going with it was, it's regardless of what happens next, Brian's family's life, it seems at this point, I'm saying all of them, is ruined, right? Ruined. Like, it's not like they got him away and they're going to have a party. Like, he made it. It's like, nope, everybody's life is over, period. But, the reporters will be outside their house for weeks waiting for updates. Law enforcement, hopefully, if he did do it, right, and this is something that we're going to talk about on Dr. Mom later this week, he's not guilty yet, and we said this on Dr. Mom last week, right? He may have done it. He probably did do it, right? But in a court of law in the United States, he's not guilty yet, whatever. I'm trying not to get canceled here. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it, is that his family's life is over and nobody wins here. Nobody at all wins here.
And I feel pretty confident about this. If the lawyer and the family and Brian's family goes in and says what they know a while ago, we don't know. It's very unfortunate, but we don't know Gabby's name. We don't know it. It's a story in Florida. It's a story maybe in Wyoming, but it's not a national story. But that's I think one of the things that's interesting about it. It's become a national story.
Yeah.
Because of how he's acted. If he had just turned himself in, yeah, it's not a national story. So, again, we guarantee tomorrow morning we will get, positive ID. Brian will be found. There'll probably be, as soon as we go off at 9:00, there will be some,
some update. Huge
some
update.
So we will move on. So look at the Oppenheimer Project's Facebook page for updates. So, Emmy winners. Well, I will tell you that I did fall asleep last night, so I did not make it through all of the Emmys.
We have a comment.
Oh, yeah, yep. Carolina saying it.
First rule, if the police call you a person of interest, you lawyer up.
That's it.
And that's like, period, right? Guilty or not guilty, in this day and age, especially, if someone's going to go on Facebook, social media, and start stirring that pot, just the lawyer up, period. We're trying not to get canceled here, but yes, we agree with what Carolyn's saying.
I think we're fine too, because that's, when I was talking with Renee C today, that was the thing. It's like, honestly, I just feel like from watching, if you just watch one SVU marathon, you know how to handle this better than the family's like. So speaking of TV and SVU, the Emmys were announced yesterday. Shannon texted me earlier, was like, do you want me to tell you who I picked? And I was like, no, I feel pretty confident that the people you picked didn't win, because while Shannon and I probably watched the most TV shows we've ever watched, thanks to 2020's crappy year, and most of 21 staying that crappy. almost none of the shows that we watched won, which was for us. I mean, Mayor of Easttown had a couple wins, which was nice to see. But we don't watch The Crown. I haven't been able to watch Ted Lasso yet. Handmaid's Tale, I have not seen yet either. So those seem to be the big three. The Crown seemed to win every big acting award for a drama. Ted Lasso won every big acting award for a comedy. Hamilton won for best special or miniseries, which was cool, even though it was out, almost 16 months ago, but still cool as a huge Hamilton fan. Definitely cool to see Evan Peters win for Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
And the other big talking point from the Emmys, WandaVision did not win any of. It won a couple of technical Oscars. It won 3 technical Oscars, but did not win for any of the big acting or so. Which, I would say this podcast is very much powered because of WandaVision's of the attention it was getting and the impact it was having on pop culture. So
our first live episode.
Yeah, our first. That's what we started. That's what kept us. Oh, we got to go every few weeks. We got to talk about it and let's catch up. So, again, it was huge about a year ago. So it was just interesting to see.
It was about a year ago.
Yeah, it was about a year ago. We can see this. Yeah, we can see this with all of these shows. That who are the voters? Who's voting for this? Right. That's why back in the day, and we talked about streaming. We had a streaming episode a couple weeks ago. But that's the thing. Just if the mom and pop sitting at home who's just watch the regular TV shows, none of those shows, because it used to be NCIS, it used to be ER, Cheers, Frasier, all these shows used to be what would nominate and win every year. And I don't think almost any, I'm sure there's one or two I missed, but almost any just mainstream network TV shows won. So it is very much a streaming world. So again, Emmys was a big night. I've heard people were really kind of happy with how it was done. I know you posted something about Seth Rogen and his COVID jokes, but
he's always saying something these days. No, I love the guy, but I feel like it's anytime he pops up these days, it's because he said something that people are just
yes. And again, court of public opinion. People have something to say about everything that happens out there. So again, it's why two people who honestly we would never have run across each other. I mean, obviously Monica being our connection, but we would not have run across each other. But yeah, we have a podcast and 3 or 4 people listen to us once a week, So it is the reality we live in. And so every time someone says something, all right, we'll stay with COVID because COVID will come up a lot in the news, obviously. Jim Brewer, former SNL cast member who you probably most know as Joe Pesci. He did Amazing Joe Pesci, and he was Goat Boy. So I know him. I'm really into his stand-up. He is a phenomenal storyteller. He can tell a story like no one. And but he has made the decision to, if a place is asking for people to be vaccinated or to show a COVID test, he has decided he's not going to play there. So that was his decision, and the court of public opinion has either gone in his favor or against him. I don't understand it, but again, unless he's listening to his fans who are against it. So that was Jim Brewer. He made the news for COVID last week, talking about not willing to play there. And then probably the oddest COVID news of the week, and maybe for a long time, was Nicki Minaj. And I actually did a double take. Nicki Minaj was in the news last week because, and what sounds like the most made up story, Nicki Minaj's cousin's best friend's fiance, took the COVID vaccine, and their testicles grew multiple sizes, so they were too large. So
is that a problem?
Yeah, that is what they're saying is a problem. So the fiance dumped the Nicki Minaj's cousin's best friend's friend. The wedding is off, all because the vaccine did this to him. And I think it was in Trinidad and Tobago. It was somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which produced the most amazing soundbite ever of the Dr. Fauci of Trinidad and Tobago, getting on the news and going, "Do not ask me any questions about this. This is the most asinine thing ever. I'm not giving any time of my day to handling of Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's fiance. It is again, it was just fascinating. It was just the random thing, and then now Nicki Minaj is not happy with the backlash, not happy with the court of public opinion.
They're coming for it,
because people, they are very unhappy with her. So it's interesting.
Leave it to her.
Yeah, leave it to her. And then, like we said, last Tuesday, we got the news, surprising news for everyone, that Norm Macdonald had passed away. And
I did hear about that. I'm sorry, we're just going to highlight this comment.
Right.
But I think she declined the comment. Did I hear her?
I'm good. Right.
She's like, I don't want to talk to Fauci.
Right, I'm good. I don't want to have to explain it to him if he doesn't get how it works. But last Tuesday, we got the sad news that former SNL and comedian Norm Macdonald had passed away at the age of 61. And this, honestly, if we saw he was in a car accident or something, a random accident, it would have been it was actually more shocking to hear he had been suffering from cancer, for 9 years and quietly had been fighting it. So yes, if you were anywhere on the internet last Tuesday through Wednesday or so, you saw tons of his famous clips posted from either his stand-up or his, when he would play Burt Reynolds and on SNL or any of his other characters.
Do you know what I found out just like YouTube surfing one day is that I'm not a big comedy guy,
Okay.
but apparently, and maybe you knew this, like he was like extremely highly respected by all comedians everywhere. Like I didn't know that. Like they were just like overwhelmed with his I guess, how do I say this? His type of comedy, right? They said that he just had the ability to deliver in such a dry way that you just couldn't like stop yourself from laughing. The ideas behind the jokes. So, and I think you saw, or we all did, like Conan O'Brien had something to say. Adam Sandler had something to say. Like all these comedians were just so like devastated by Norm Macdonald, and all of these talented comedians and talk show hosts, they actually looked up to him in many ways, which I found out, and I thought that was pretty cool. So, and that was even pre last week. So just something I found out.
Yeah, going on to Twitter where the court of public opinion is always in session. That was definitely the vibe I was getting, was that to a person, everyone had something positive to say, which is not always the case.
Right.
Yeah, it's not always the case. I was on Twitter before we went live, and someone just showed a picture of like a birthday cake. And it was like, hey, it's my son's 12th birthday. And and I, in the comments, someone was like, why would you have gotten him that? Why'd you get him chocolate? Like, if somebody had something negative to say. And I didn't read the comments about Norm Macdonald, but, I wasn't, with almost anyone, you're going to get some people who are like, well, don't, and we'll talk more about this in our main topic area. But I definitely saw just comedians and actors who were all appreciative of Norm's work and his ability to deliver. I mean, I had heard just from years, like, he wasn't fun to work with. Like for directors, people had to wrangle him, because he had a show and it was not, he was not easy to work with, and because he wanted it his way. And he has that kind of Gilbert Gottfried thing to him where he's going to tell a joke his way. Right. And when you're trying to do a 30-minute sitcom, the joke needs to be, hey, what are you looking for? Your dirty underwear? Pause for laughter. Whereas he wants to like, I can make that joke 2 minutes long. Right. And like, I will get into, hey, well, why is your underwear dirty? And let's look at the introspection. He's trying to have fun with it his way, and it did not always work with people. So that's why we didn't see a lot of him in a more mainstream way. But those who loved him loved him. So, all right. Yeah, and our final news item of the day is, I would say Thursday of last week. Am I right about that? Friday of last week. Oppenheimer Projects had their 1 year anniversary. Now, this is the 1 year anniversary of. You didn't talk about it. So, talk to us about Oppenheimer Project's 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. So, I think you were going to say it wasn't the first. Like, there was no Oppenheimer Projects yet, right? It was just like, hey, I have an idea for a podcast. I'm in the middle of a pandemic. I'm not working. And I think I might have told you this. I might have told some other people as well that when I went to go buy the equipment to actually go through with this, Best Buy was sold out because everybody was either starting a podcast, or a YouTube channel, or trying to become famous or whatever. I guess I fall into the trying to become famous category, but no. So yeah, 1 year since Teenagers, Toddlers, and Twins, and then we followed up with the Ryan Mercer Show, which ultimately became the Ryan Mercer Show with Richard Masso, and here we are. And then Dr. Mom, which is a part of the Oppenheimer Project. So I didn't want to just say 1 year of since Teenagers, Toddlers, and Twins, but 1 year altogether, all this craziness. Big thank you to everybody that's participated, especially you, Richard, because you jump on here every week and we have a good time. But yes, much more to come. I love doing this, as we all know, because I'm going and finding British people to do voiceovers.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. Yeah, because again, it's one of those things that I would always talk about wanting to do or pretend I was doing, and I was walking around the summer a couple months before your 1 year, a couple months before 1 year ago. So I was walking around and I would just be on the phone. And I remember calling a friend of the show, Travis, on the phone to talk to him about sports. And I just did it in like a podcasting, like radio show voice, and where he actually thought I was filming him for something, So like, I was like, no, this is just a regular phone conversation. So I know for me, it's nice to have a little release. I am, and I'm sure as the school year goes on, you're going to get more Monday morning texts from me saying, you sure you want to do it today? Well, just let me know. But then, yeah, so when I get home, I will have, I enjoy it. Thanks for the outlet. And I look forward to hearing more about the topic we're going to talk about today. So.
Yeah. So here we are, the court of public opinion, right? So I will say, and let me reiterate 100 times over, like I did on Dr. Mom, if you listen to that episode, which is available now. A week ago, right? We did not know where Gabby was. We did not know what had happened, right? Let's be honest. It all did not seem right, period. Let's get that out of the way. But for some reason, all the posts on Facebook, all the posts on social media really stood out to me this time. And, it's like people digging, going to Instagram posts, going to the YouTube channel, just if you click enough, you can find details on people, and then listing, what they found by going down the rabbit hole and putting the pieces together and the what if and the what if. And I was thinking before we actually came on to do this podcast that for the most part, when people go to do this, they're usually right. I would say that the majority of the time in a case like this where somebody goes missing, unfortunately, the outcome is that perhaps the person is deceased, but usually the public is right. But still, I just was like, wow, people are just so quick to make their own assumptions. And let's say Brian didn't do it and Gabby, or let's stop saying Gabby, but let's say the person had not done it and the person who was missing showed up again. Right? Whatever the case may be.
Right.
The public, it's just so hard to shake any negative image once it is sealed in people's minds. Does that make sense?
100%.
So that's kind of where I was at. Like, let's just talk about this and see where it goes. And yes, I texted you this morning. I was listening to Michael Jackson. People, for years, just Michael Jackson touches little boys, touches kids, did this and that, bleached his skin white. Everything like that. But, did Michael Jackson get a fair shake? I don't think so. I know that a lot of the things he did was questionable, weird even. But court of public opinion just said he's a child molester that never got, found convicted or put in jail or anything like that. I haven't done too much research, I'm going to be honest. But he was what I was thinking about also this morning when I was like, let's do a podcast on this and see what Richard has to say and see where we can go with it. What do you think?
My first reaction when you said, I think I made a joke. I made a joke back to you because that's what's happened is in the Richard court, in Richard's brain court, Michael Jackson is guilty. Now Richard's a kind person, so Michael Jackson is guilty, but his upbringing was tough.
Right.
The right people did not help him in the right ways over the years, and so then he had his issues with, and again, and I've seen documentaries and I've seen, but a documentary is not, I've not seen a videotape. I've not seen proof,
We never talked to him, right?
Right. Court of public opinion. Kim Kardashian made a sex tape Like, well, that's not court of public. Like, I've seen that Kim Kardashian made a sex tape. Now, we might judge her from that, but when we talk about it, we're not talking about we're not doing hearsay. We're not saying, oh, I've heard about this. I'm sorry, other people have seen this. I have not looked at that tape. That is, yes, I have not watched that tape. But with Michael Jackson, you watch enough. You watch enough stuff, you hear enough stuff. Like you said, there's some interesting decisions he made. You probably shouldn't have had. And I just remember being younger going, I don't know what I would do if I had a 12-year-old boy and Michael Jackson invited him over. I'd probably be honored. I'd probably,
oh yeah, go.
It's so interesting. But yeah, so I've made that decision and I was like, yeah. So I judged you right away. I'm like, really? But you just said it again eloquently. Like that's what we do. That's what this is probably right before you were born or right as you were being born, the John Benet Ramsey story.
Oh, I remember it. My mom couldn't stop looking into it. Yeah.
And that was, we always say this, that was one of the first, just major, the internet was not quite around, but she was on every cover of every magazine. This was just crazy, that family was guilty the entire time. No one knew anything to this day. Nothing has been proven. They don't have a real clue, but I'm sure I can go on my TV right now with 800 channels and find somebody doing a documentary or some,
100%. Nancy Grace has something to say about it for sure.
Yeah, sure. So, did we know if anyone saw Nancy Grace last night? We talk about Gabby.
No, I didn't. Is she still on, Nancy Grace?
I think she comes in for special moments like this.
In the meantime, you're just gonna flip back to your Kim Kardashian thing. That's always a big one to me in the court of public opinion, and I think I have Monica to thank, if you will, for giving me a little bit more insight. I've actually sat down and watched a few of their episodes with Monica, and I get sucked in. And for the longest time, I thought it was just like a lot of, and here I go with being my own court of public opinion, a lot of, let's just say, old school Paris Hilton, where it's a lot of like, yeah, okay. But no, they're talking, they're speaking, eloquently. I give them credit because I couldn't have a camera in my face for days, weeks on end, right? So let's give them credit for that. And then I remember saying to Monica also, because Monica was telling me Kim's in law school and she's looking to become a lawyer and she does a lot of work for prison reform and people who are incarcerated when they were actually innocent. And I'm saying to myself, when Kim gets her law degree, if she doesn't have it already, and becomes a lawyer, if that's what she actually decides to do, take the bar pass to become a lawyer, I don't see anybody ever giving, not anybody, but a majority of the public giving her the credit she deserves. It's going to be, oh, she slept with the teacher, or oh, who did she pay off to get her grades, or oh, you know what I mean? It's never going to be like Kim put in the work and became a lawyer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's another one for me, a big one for me with the court of public opinion.
Yeah, you hear it all the time because we do it. We do it, and it's a common theme on our podcast. I name a band right now, and half the listeners, oh, I love that banner. And it's always an interesting thing to me that nobody ever says, and again, I'm making myself sound like Crazy Richard, but nobody ever says, oh, the Kardashians, that's not my cup of tea. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. They will say, oh, that piece of that crap. Yeah. Again, I've tried to watch it. I've watched almost everything. It's not something I watch all the time.
Sure.
But I'm intelligent enough to separate the concept of, and that did not meant to be sounded like people who hate them aren't intelligent, but I can say, yeah, that's not my cup of tea. And I don't go, oh my goodness, I hate that. That's so stupid. Because yes, 100%. If they rolled up, if he's the better Carson Daly, Ryan Seacrest. If Ryan Seacrest rolled up and said, hey, Richard, we're going to film you and your family. Here's millions and millions of dollars. Okay, great. Oh, you went to the library today and you just taught your classes. Hey, how about if tomorrow? Yeah. And that's hey, how about if tomorrow when you go to teach your class, wear a really weird tight shirt, that's a little too, or hey, wear pants that the kids are going to tease you about.
Yell at the kid.
Yeah, yell at the kid. Yeah, listen, we need you, and that's what happens. Again, not to say that I have not rolled my eyes at the Kardashians over the years for some of the things they've done or some of the.
Right.
But again, I also have not been a billionaire. So when I'm court of public opinion judging Kendall for having this crazy party when she rented an island, I have not been a billionaire. Like I went to Wawa today and bought my lottery tickets. And I
use my credit card to pay for it.
Right, and I know I will do some dumb things with that money if I got it. I wouldn't sit there and be like, all right, I'm going to start my nonprofit orphanage, and then I'm going to keep my job because I want to stay. No, I'm going to be like, hey, see ya. It was really nice to meet you guys. I'm leaving, and yeah, I don't know if I'll rent an island, but it's again, we do these recurring themes of and. I was going to Carol Ann, who commented earlier, she did the ultimate, walk in someone's shoes today. And yeah, that's what we always try to do is think about walking in someone's shoes. But again, it's tough because when we started this topic, Bill Cosby popped in my head.
That's another one.
Whereas Bill is someone who, in the court of real world, sorry, in the whatever you call it, the court,
the justice system.
In the justice system, he was convicted. He was, and again, I don't think anyone's in any doubt that he is guilty of that.
Sure.
He is free right now because of some
technicalities.
Which, they get me. I get. Sorry, I got caught in a SVU marathon last night, and I just get really upset sometimes when I'm watching this episode and they know the guy did it. They have videotape of it, but the way they got the videotape wasn't legal,
right?
So the judge is I'm like, that's, I understand that, but you have videotape of the guy killing a person, but because the way they got it was, they use an Ancestor, a DNA in Me or an Ancestor 23 type of website.
Okay.
That's how they got the DNA to catch the killer. So they knew it was the killer, but the way they obtained it. And I was just like, how can the judge sit there? But I know that that's what they're trained to do. So we are these judges in the court of public opinion. And for me, it's I'm both saying a statement and asking a question, which we've again asked many times on our episodes. How do you separate the person, the mistake, the issue from their body of work, which is just a recurring theme we're going to have now. And with Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson both, Bill Cosby is an incredibly gifted comedian, really, really has produced some amazing stuff.
But you want to try something?
Yeah. Okay. And I'll turn off if it goes bad.
I'm not going to.
Am I supposed to turn my lights off too?
No.
Are we doing ASMR? Whatever that is.
This is something, and listen, everyone, Richard and I are not getting canceled. Please have an open mind. We're having a discussion. So nobody can hold this against me because it's truth. We've said it a long time. We've said it multiple times here on the show. I'm a huge Batman fan.
Or you can hold it against him. Or you can hold it against him. And
you can. In the court of public opinion, you can hold it against me.
I know what you mean.
But nobody remembers that in the horrible film Batman and Robin, back in the days in the 1990s when a big singer, big performer at that time would do a song for the movie, R. Kelly did Gotham City for the horrible movie Batman and Robin, which is a completely different podcast.
No clue that this is a thing. No clue that this is the thing.
So, I think you and I talked about this. You said you had no idea that he did it.
No idea. Yeah, that was someone else you talked to.
Listen, honestly, a really good song like that. I went looking for it years later. I love this song. So, but the comments, because it's R. Kelly, I had to dive in. Richard, they did not stop at the 58 comment limit. It looks like they got to 3,069.
Yep.
So let's just look at the comments real quick, and if Richard gets
microphone,
what is it? Microphone. He will. We'll come back. All right. So share screen. If anybody can see this, R. Kelly is an asset and a little bit of a liability. That. How does it compare to the insane Prince? See that? See, Tim. One of my friend, you met Grayson Tim, or you saw him on our podcast. He always says, no Batman film will ever be as good as Batman because Prince didn't do a song for it. Period. That's what he always says. And actually, I think Prince is getting a spot in one of the upcoming, 1989 Batman comics. So,
cool.
Yes, it doesn't compare. It doesn't compare. Prince reigns supreme.
And it's interesting. I don't know how my voice sounds.
No, you're good. You're good.
For 47-year-old, 48-year-old people, that's not an insane Batman song. That's a great Batman song. Like, that was so cool.
Right.
But yeah, I can understand listening to it years later. Like, yeah, he's just like they're. And again, it was groundbreaking, honestly, because they were putting quotes from the movie in the song. Now all stuff that people do on TikTok or on their YouTube channels. Prince was like, I got this. Yeah, so I've never heard the song, so I'm curious. Are we going to hear it, or are we just going to read the comments?
Well, we can hear it, but I want to.
Oh yeah, please read the comments. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm also scared to get you microphony, but let's jump into the comments real quick. R. Kelly is an asset and a little bit of a liability that one cannot resist not listen to his incredible songs. And I gotta say, the '90s was the hottest decade for incredible cinematic soundtracks. Even if a film that's not one, his real life actions doesn't change the fact that he made timeless music. Y'all can hate Kells for his action, but you can never hate him for the music. I can't deny that R. Kelly is probably one of the greatest songwriters of all time. I'm just going to read one more. It's so sad to say, but I can't skip a song when it comes to this man. I really hope he gets the help he definitely needs to regain his strength and mind. Because it's very sad to the Black community that we have to deal with aspects like this and become monsters within society. Just those few comments.
That's a whole,
you know,
that last comment's a whole discussion too. It's very interesting. They all of those points are points. All I kept thinking every time you're reading one was, this is a court of public opinion that, like, listen, somebody just posted a song. like this is the ultimate example. Like, you didn't need a comment. Like, no, like, if a Facebook post where someone shares something and says, hey, what do you guys all think of R. Kelly? Those comments belong. Like, when they're just posting a song, you can just scroll by. You don't have to say, anything. So,
and it's just like, how do I say this? I remember I was reading these out loud to Monica, and she was like, no, silence R. Kelly, silence R. Kelly. And I was like, what? What is that? And then she had to explain to me that it's
right.
Listen, R. Kelly has done some interesting things and made some questionable comments for sure, right?
I was going to say, R. Kelly is someone who, while nothing has really, I shouldn't say nothing, but like he's made the comments. He has kind of been like, well, what's wrong with putting a woman in a cage? Like, he has said words out loud, right. To indict himself. Some of the kidnapping things that have been put against him haven't quite stick, but he has 100% said,
remember the one where, do you like, what is it? It was, do you like teenage girls? And he's like, when you say teenage, you mean how old do you mean? And they got the reporter just like,
right. He's like, I don't need. Never mind. He's like,
he's like, the fact that you had to just like come back with that sort of question, I'm kind of just wondering what we're doing here.
But yeah, in Philadelphia, you will not hear "I Believe I Can Fly" or Mission. You will not hear that. They do not play it. I
forgot about that one. I sang that through all through elementary school.
No, it is a great song. What was the name of the Batman song?
Gotham City.
It's called Gotham City by R. Kelly. Now
should we play just a little snip to see?
I'll play it on my computer.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't do enough of this. I should be the one. I'm just shocked that I don't know that this song existed.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked too.
Or I'm going to start hearing it and go, oh.
It has 7 million views. So I'm not the only one that remembered it.
Yeah, we got an ad for Succession, which people seem to like.
Sorry, that's how my son axe dances.
Nope, never heard it.
Never heard it.
He's an excellent singer, and it sounds beautiful, but I have never heard it before. So
yeah.
But it's not quite "Kissed by a Rose" level of popularity,
of beauty or popularity.
So, we'll have to look at what song hit from the second Batman. Maybe that's what they'll do. That's what Affleck needs to do. Get a hit song going with his Batman podcast idea. Why don't they they have songs in movies like this anymore? There doesn't really
Yes,
seem to be like
I would
you
love
don't
to
make
do
a
that.
song like that. Yeah. So
Like,
and I mean the podcast will be over. They don't make songs.
It's like it's. We're gonna start a whole other podcast.
Well, no, we have to save these small podcast ideas for the weeks I don't want to do a podcast, and then just get on for literally 2 minutes ago. You know, Ryan, they don't make songs for movies anymore like they used to. No, they don't. All right, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great night, everyone. We'll
we
see
had a
you
really
next
great
week.
time. I gotta go. Eagles are on soon. Go Birds.
So I gotta ask you a question now.
Sure.
So have we actually made any progress, you and I, here tonight? Because we keep talking about people who have kind of incriminated themselves. What have we done here tonight?
No, we have not. No, and I don't believe we can make progress because I am guessing that the numbers will show us that when the court of public opinion said someone was guilty, they were.
Yeah.
You know, they were. Yeah, again, if the news comes out in 3 days that Brian L is guilty, I'm not going to be like, where did that come from?
Right. Whoa.
You know?
Yeah.
Again, things that, you know, OJ being involved in a crime was a little bit of a shock. I'm sure there's some more recent examples that I'm forgetting, but yeah, I remember, you know, being, you know, 20 years old whenever that was happening, and just like, OJ, like the actor and the football player, like he's involved somehow. You know, for me with wrestling, I don't know if you remember the Chris Benoit story with wrestling.
Yeah, I remember I actually almost crashed my car when I heard my friend was in the back and he told me that. Was it Royal Rumble actually got canceled on the night of because of it or something? WrestleMania
nothing that big. It was just a regular show. I can't remember what it was called.
But yeah, it got canceled, right? Like
nothing got canceled. No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it did. So I remember hearing, and I was like, "Whoa."
No. So Chris Benoit was found. Chris Benoit, his wife, and his 7-year-old son were found dead in their home in Atlanta because he didn't show up for his wrestling job on Sunday. They called it a wellness check, and just shocked, like, oh my goodness, Chris Benoit, like one of the nicest people in wrestling. His wife was involved in wrestling. Like, oh my goodness, Nancy's passed away. Like, this is crazy. What kind of people would do this? The next night on WWE Raw, it was a 2-hour tribute show to Chris Benoit's legacy, you know. And then Tuesday morning, much like our curse, Tuesday morning, the detectives in Atlanta came out and were like, oh yeah, no, Chris Benoit killed his wife and killed his, you know, and then he killed himself. Like, it was a murder-suicide. Yeah. And that was just like, for 3 days, it was a tragedy, you know. I mean, WWE has this embarrassing 2 hours of film of everyone saying what an amazing person he was. Yeah. And the reality is, everything they said is true. Like, everything they said about how he affected their lives and the friend he was to them is true.
This is a great point you're making.
You know, but the court of public opinion, we current event, Deshaun Watson, quarterback from the Texas Texans. Sorry, the Houston Texans. I do this thing where I know I'm so knowledgeable about sports. I try to downplay it a little bit and mess up on purpose. So, meanwhile, our viewers are like, yeah, court of public opinion, you don't know what you're talking about. That being said, so here's this man, quarterback. He has been accused by over 20 women of, after massages, being inappropriate, you know, either coming onto them or touching them, or, you know, and so, yeah, he's not going to play football this year, even if, like, because he's got all of these women bringing suit against him. He has not made any statements about it. And so it becomes this thing in the Philadelphia Eagles world, to tie it into closer to home. They weren't really sure all summer what was happening to their quarterback. So at least once a week, it would be like, we might trade for Deshaun Watson. And then you would listen on the radio. Half the people would be like, he is the best option. And other people going, no, like, we don't, what a crazy creep, you know? And then
right,
it's the host's job to kind of be like, well, nothing's been proven, but also how are 20 women just deciding to say this about it? You know, and that's
right.
Again, and this is the court of public opinion. This is, you know, and it's probably what's made all of these podcasts about true crime. It's what made Court TV so popular in the, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, because we want, it's what makes Law and Order so popular. We want to see the show evolve to show us the proof and show us evidence. And, because at least for me, I know I hate it. I hate when people don't speak up and defend themselves, and like Carol Ann said, you lawyer up, and the first thing the lawyer says is don't say anything.
Yeah.
And I know I would struggle with that because I'd want to be like,
I have to say it, right?
I have to say, like, oh, Richard,
I sincerely mean it.
Richard, you've been accused of talking over Ryan during the show. Like, yeah, like, oh my goodness, like, lawyer up, he's going to sue you. Like, I would say, hey, Ryan, like, I'm not, like, it was never on purpose. Like, that's I would be ready with my statement. Like, Ryan, it's never on purpose. We got to be able to work this out. I know I know your hair. I've been jealous of your hair, but that's not, like I would, that's what I would do. That's why lawyers say don't talk because he's talking to, and again, I hear Nancy Grace. He's talking about Ryan's hair. That's not how Nancy Grace sounds, but then he did a bad imitation of me.
I don't know. It's pretty spot on for Nancy Grace. I think
he's guilty. But yeah, it's funny how I just, tore my own point apart. But again, to me, like every time I'm like, no, I would want to make a statement, but again, every bit of advice would be say nothing. We'll get it figured out. And that's what you see. To stay on the wrestling theme thing. I don't know if it came across your timelines, but Ric Flair, world famous, pretty popular wrestler, known for going woo. He, the WWE back in the early 2000s had a plane flight back from Europe. It's called the Plane Flight from Hell, and there's a documentary series called Dark Side of the Ring that focuses on some of the darker things that happen. And the documentary talks about this. There was some reason they all got just trashed. So wrestlers were wrestling in the middle of the airplane. People were taking their clothes off. People were, and Ric Flair has been accused of the flight attendant of either showing his penis or, doing a helicopter spin with his penis. I don't know what that is. And just being inappropriate. And a bunch of wrestlers who kind of said, oh, boys will be boys. And, they've fallen under fire. They're getting in trouble now because they made the statement. What really sunk them in the court of public opinion was, well, why'd she settle? Why did this person settle aspect? Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely how a fish does get caught. Yeah, and I would be the king. I would be the king of over explanation because I would wind up trying to make a joke and I'd be like, "Oh no, Poppy! Like, no, I didn't steal that gun and I didn't do that." And look at me! I can't hold a gun. And they're like, "Oh no,
look."
How'd you know the gun was a right-handed gun? Oh, I didn't know it was a right-handed gun. And then I'd be in jail because I was trying to be silly or I was trying to explain myself away. But yeah, that was my long story. Was basically to say like. That's one of my least favorite thing, but it happens all the time in the court of public opinion. Why did the person settle? Why did the person accusing Cosby, the person accusing anyone, why did they settle? Right. And again, I think that's an easy answer. Like, you want it to go away, and then again, it's funny. The brave person who doesn't settle is then, they're just trashed and destroyed.
It can flip. Yeah.
It's, like they like, no, I'm going to stick with it. I want this person to have a consequence. So, yeah.
You just actually reminded me about something that I wanted to bring up, and maybe this will take us to the end. One thing I don't agree with, period. Right?
Yeah, no, I don't like it either, but it happens once a month, and it's always stressful. But we get through it. We don't, and here's the thing: we don't have to actually go through it physically. We just have to deal with the ramifications. So, and there are.
No, and there
goodness bless you when you when you have all three kids, everybody in your house.
We should give the four people that watch us a canceled button. So every time they think that we said something canceled worthy, there it is, canceled. Right there.
No, but that's Carol Ann's not canceling us. She's saying, "Hey, check yourself. Like, be aware of yourself."
So what I was thinking was, and I forgot to bring it up, and you just reminded me of it. Richard canceled. I don't think it's right or fair for I guess the biggest one or the biggest sector. I guess we will say, entertainment, if there's an ongoing investigation, somebody loses their job, right? Immediately, because there's outcry. They're calling for somebody's dismissal, release, or something like that. That I don't really agree with. Listen, if they did it, prove it, right? They should face the consequences 100%. But just for them to like the next day be like, so and so has cut ties with whoever. This endorsed, this company has cut ties with whomever. And it's just like, but you're not even hearing my side of the story. You're just hearing somebody that posted on social media. This is an example, right? This is an exaggerated example. You hear somebody posted on social media, or somebody got a lawyer and started an investigation. Suddenly that person, Nike cuts them, whomever, right? That I don't think is fair. What do you think?
I agree with your point. I think that I agree with your point, because your point is to that point. Then if like Oscar Pistorius, Mandalorian wrestle lady, I don't know. She I was thinking about her the entire time you were talking, and so to just focus on her instead of Oscar Pistorius, but to focus on Gina, who may be back. I cut it as a last minute news story. Like, Gina may be back in Mandalorian season 4. Like, they're gonna give it a little break, and
that whole thing would have been for nothing,
right? So, so the thing is, I think and again, this brings us into like, this is and again, I always knew that this is more or less a cancel culture, a consequence culture discussion, court of public opinion. Disney, Star Wars, Jon Favreau, they make a statement saying we don't agree with Gina's opinion. But then they sit there and they live in the court of public opinions because they're getting tons of messages, But I agree with your point, which I believe, if I'm saying it right, was don't snap your fingers and do it right away. Like, give it time to breathe. See, because if most things you give time to breathe, they go away.
Right.
In Gina's situation, yet again, I think that's what the lawyers and the guys are sitting in a big room. The people are sitting in a big room going, all right, it's been 4 days. It's still not going away. Like, and then that's what they start sweating for their own jobs. So then that's where you have these people. Again, I struggle because I have not seen Gina come out with that's the wrong way. I should have said it that way. I should never.
I was wrong.
I should never have compared. Like, I don't think mask mandates and vaccines are fair, but I should not compare it to what happened in the Holocaust. They are not the same thing.
Right.
And again, like, with everything we were saying, it blows my mind people's inability to apologize. Not people believe their apologies, because every time you apologize, somebody's going to say you're full of crap. But the fact that people just don't know, they don't quite see it. So, but yeah, again, and then that's what happens is, I guess the worst thing that can happen if you wait a minute, like we were talking about Chris Benoit or Oscar Pistorius, if you wait a minute to rush to judgment, you're just making that judgment a week later. You're just making that judgment later when you know more information. And that's, if we have our little lesson here, it's take a breath.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, because you actually, I wasn't thinking about Gina, but you just made me think about Gina. And then actually that led to Disney, Bob Iger, and the whole Roseanne thing. Like, yes, Roseanne, that's your account. You tweeted what you said. You need, and I remember I read Bob Iger said, if this was an hourly employee that posted it, we would fire them. So just because she's Roseanne, she does not get special privilege. She's fired as well, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes to let's just say allegations, let's not just the next day. If anything,
no, right,
Richard, I'm going to need Richard. This is what's happening. Why don't you just take a break for a couple weeks, right? And we'll circle back and see. We'll do our own investigation. You can have your,
right,
yeah. And we'll.
And then I think next Monday, I think you need to be on here next Monday saying, "Hey, Richard's not going to be around for a few weeks. We're looking. You've probably heard about his allegations. We're looking into it. But like that's what." May this day never come. May this day, but that's to me like what I'm always so interested about this is the idea of like you just nailed the perfect example. Roseanne tweeted it. There was no denying it.
No denying it.
There
Like,
was no
you're
denying
guilty
it.
right there.
You know, if the story had been Roseanne's maid comes forward with story of her saying this.
Right.
That's the allegation.
Right.
You know, and then if at some point a week into it, there's a recording of Roseanne saying it, same consequence. It's just that idea that the take the deep breath idea is really, really hard for people. And I will say that with the hypocrisy mirror in front of my face, that I can jump on Twitter in a second, read a headline that says something, and just be like, oh, that person said that. I hate them. And meanwhile, like, you click on the article and actually read the article.
Yeah.
Oh, he said it in 2003, and he was acting in a role, and it was not actually okay. But we don't do that. I mean, we full disclosure, we don't do that. The world would be this awesome, amazing place if we all took deep breaths. We all get news and we all react immediately, because we're all lawyers.
We're all
judges, and we're all
detectives too.
Yeah, but you know what? None of us are. We're not the stenographer that actually hears everything and writes that John down. We are not.
I was thinking there needs to be a movie about it. Was it stenographer?
Yeah, it's just called The Stenographer. That's the name of the movie I'm writing.
That could be a movie. Crap they've heard over the years.
Yeah, and she has this particular stenographer. She has a photographic memory, so she remembers everything that happens. And so then this crime boss comes for her because she knows all of the details, from this courtroom. Of course, I stereotyped him as an Italian, but that's what he is. He's Italian. He's Italian in this. I was going to say the Morea family from North Jersey is clearly saying, all right, cancel him. The British Moreas and the Italian Moreas, I've been canceled. But yeah, look for the stenographer coming out. Unfortunately, hypocrite again, it's coming to a streaming service near you. I'm not waiting for that. So.
You're not doing any experiments, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, I could wait and put my time in for network TV, but somebody's streaming service will offer me. The Oppenheimer Project streaming service will.
But listen, you got to get canceled on what is it, public TV they call it, on cable. You got to get canceled on cable so then Netflix can pick you up and well, actually no, canceled, petition, hashtag picked up by Netflix. That seems to be the process.
That's what I need to do. And then when Netflix is like, I don't even remember the stenographer being on, and I'll be like, oh no, yeah, and remember how the opening credits start? They go, it's all written down in public records. The stenographer. These are the stories of the stenographer. Yeah, and then and the stenographer has to go and they help solve cases, which seems like a real contradict. Like, they shouldn't be doing that, but they're like, and every episode the stenographer's just like, I had to come and tell you, and then they show the funny notes, because they're all this weird shorthand. It's like, it just says STLV. Like what are you talking about? So.
The stenographer actually does the interrogating, like in CSI. Which, when you think about it, you're like, I've never seen the crime scene person investigate or interrogate the person. It's usually just the detective.
It's just the detective. So
yeah,
CSI coming back. Actually, it might even be on right now.
Yeah, with the original
cast,
Grissom,
and
right?
Grissom. I guess the woman who became his wife in the show is back, which I don't remember her name. And then, right. So that's interesting. And no, that's what's on now. NCIS and then NCIS Hawaii, because they were like, we need a new NCIS. Let's go Hawaii. So
let's go to Hawaii.
And then
worked out for Dog the Bounty Hunter. Let's go to Hawaii.
What can we do here? Oh, CSI. Yeah, but what made CSI so popular? Well, this Gus Gritz and these people. Yeah, let's just ask them what they're doing. So, court of public opinion says, you tried to give us a new TV show. We did not like it. So, give us back our old TV show.
And they're going to give it back. So, next Monday, bye week or earlier,
or a 2-minute episode,
or a 2-minute episode about something. Hopefully, everybody tunes in. Hopefully, Richard and I didn't get canceled. We were just having a discussion. We don't agree with anybody or anything that did any wrong.
That's right. I don't know. That's the best way to. We don't agree. That's what you have to get one of the voiceover guys to say. This is the Oppenheimer Project, where we don't agree with anything or anyone. All of you are right, and all of you are wrong.
He's got to do. It's like, we'll put it beforehand. The opinions of Richard and Ryan are actually not their actual opinions. They're just trying to have fun and have a podcast.
And if you disagree with them, they agree with you, and that's the truth. So,
all right, everyone. We will maybe see you next Monday, but in the meantime, have a great night and a great week. We'll see you later.
bye, everyone.